So I did my presentation on the Battle of Fort Sumter. The commanders were the Union General Robert Anderson and the Confederate PGT Brigade. Some facts was that it was from April 12th to April 14th, 1861, and there was 85 Union soldiers and 500 Confederates. No one was actually killed in the battle. When South Carolina seceded from the Union on December 20th, 1860, Major Robert Anderson and his force of 85 soldiers were positioned at Fort Moultrie near Charleston Harbor. On December 26, fearing for the safety of his men, Anderson moved his command to Fort Sumter. Just after the inauguration of President Abraham Lincoln on March 4, 1861, Anderson reported that he had only a 6-week supply of food left in the fort, and Confederate patience for a foreign force in its territory was wearing thin. On Thursday, April 11, 1861, Confederate General PGT Brigade dispatched aides to Major Anderson to demand the fort's surrender. Anderson refused, and the next morning at 4:30 a.m., Confederates opened fire on the fort and continued for 34 hours. The Civil War had begun. Anderson did not return fire for the first 2 hours. The fort's supply of ammunition was not suited for an equal fight. At about 7 o'clock a.m., Union Captain Abner Doubleday, the fort's second in command, was afforded the honor of firing the first shot of defense. The firing continued all day, but less rapidly since the Union was trying to conserve ammunition. The crashing of the shot, the bursting of the shells, the falling of the walls, and the roaring of the flames made a pandemonium of the fort, wrote Doubleday. On Saturday, April 13th, Anderson surrendered the fort. Incredibly, no soldiers were killed in battle. The generous terms of surrender, however, allowed Anderson to perform a 100-gun salute before he and his men evacuated the fort the next day. The salute began at 2 o'clock p.m. on April 14th, but was cut short to 50 guns after an accidental explosion killed one of the gunners and wounded another. Carrying their tattered banner, the men marched out of the fort and boarded a boat that took them to the Union ships outside the harbor. They were greeted as heroes on their return to the North, which resulted in a Union victory.